Episode 82 is on your screen, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching the best sports show out, Highly Opinionated. I'm your co-host, Josh. Ladies and gentlemen, working with the best people in the game. Shout out to the best co-host, my guy from the Club JG podcast. What's up, JG? How you doing, brother?
What up, JD? What up, Boss? What's going on with y'all, bro?
We are good, man. We are blessed. Everything good with you?
Good, man. Had a good weekend. Ready to get the week started.
Absolutely. Perfect, man. Perfect mindset, perfect mentality, my brother. Ladies and gentlemen, the most important guy here on Highly Opinionated, the man, the myth, the legend himself. What's up, Ross? How you doing, brother?
I'm good. How you feeling, Josh?
I'm good, man. Can't complain. Like JG, just living in positivity, ready to get the week started.
Hey, we got some nice weather over here, so yeah, I can't complain today. Some good basketball should be. Hopefully, some good basketball tonight.
Absolutely. Definitely in the midst of the NBA and the NHL playoffs, so a lot of good playoff basketball and hockey going on at the same time. So great time to be a sports fan. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you guys for watching episode 81 last week. We had the great Lance Carter on. Shout out to everything he's doing with lacrosse. Shout out to everything he has going on with Be More Elite. So you guys, if you didn't catch episode 81, make sure you guys catch that episode with the great Lance Carter. As I say every episode here on Highly Opinionated, if you love sports, if you have something positive going on, if you have something that you got going on, you just want the world to know about it, this is the place for you. We embrace all people, black, white, Hispanic, Democrat, Republican, Independent, you name it. This is the place for you. So we appreciate all the love and support, comments, subscriptions. It means the world to us. Speaking of comments and subscriptions, Ross, let them know where they can follow us at on our social medias.
Yes, sir. Y'all can follow us on Instagram at highly opinionated __. Follow us on TikTok at highly opinionated _SS. Follow us on Twitter or X at highly O_SS. And of course, y'all already on YouTube, so make sure you like, subscribe, and leave a comment.
Absolutely. Again, like I said, we appreciate all the love and support. You guys make Highly Opinionated what it is. So without you guys, we are absolutely nothing. So we are thankful and grateful for the support. JG, my brother, ready to get episode 82 started.
Let's go.
Let's work. Let's start off with some NFL news. And let's start off with a trade that we never actually had a chance to react to on the show. Dexter Lawrence was traded from the New York Giants to the Cincinnati Bengals. He was traded for the 10th pick, which ended up being Francis Muliaga, from offensive tackle from Miami. What are your thoughts on the Bengals adding? What are your thoughts on the Bengals adding Dexter Lawrence?
The Cincinnati Bengals are very serious about working on both sides of the ball. Traditionally, over the past handful of years in Joe Burrow's career, Cincinnati's had one of the worst defenses in NFL history. We saw it last year. They decided to double up with their receivers. They're paying both their receivers, near $40 million a year with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, two number one caliber receivers in my opinion. But they did nothing to invest in their defense, and they thought they could run it back and just do it that way. Well, Joe Burrow ends up getting hurt. The defense, gives up, just historic leads, historic amounts of yards in this one game. I remember that last year when Joe Flacco was under center, that Chicago game. I remember them. They had the game and won. All they had to do was just make a tackle, and they just couldn't do that. So that was just the example of how bad this defense has been over the past few years. So they're finally investing in that side of the ball. They had some free agent signings led by Mafe from Seattle, the world champions on Seahawks, to help bolster that front seven. So Dexter Lawrence, there was a little bit of criticism about, is he worth that number 10 overall pick? But in the eyes of many, this draft didn't have that superstar that you were going to find at where Cincinnati was picking, which was number 10. So they thought Dexter Lawrence was better than any player they were going to see. And Dexter Lawrence coming off somewhat of a not impressive season by his standards, given the numbers, but he's still an impact player, for sure. He can definitely help stuff the run. He is a terror on the defensive line. But make no mistake about it. He's going to have a lot of attention on that offensive line. So this is Cincinnati pushing their chips to the table, and I believe there is now pressure on Joe Burrow. You have to stay healthy, you have to stay on the field, and you have to go get it done, because we can't go ahead and blame the GM and the owner like we have over the past few years, because they actually put some stock into this defense. So along with this high caliber, high octane offense that scares the living hell out of me as a Ravens fan every year, now you added some pieces to the defense that should be improved. And really all you have to be is middle of the pack with an offense like the Cincinnati Bengals have. Cincinnati's just failed to do that on defense. Dexter Lawrence helps that cause.
Absolutely. I agree with you 1,000%. I think Dexter Lawrence and the other additions that they added during the offseason has made the Cincinnati Bengals, to me, as of right now, they should be the favorite in the AFC North. You add Dexter. Oh, you agree? Okay, good. Dexter Lawrence.
On paper, they're the best team in the AFC North on paper. But you know how that is on paper versus the field.
Yeah, you got to play the games on the field. They don't play the games on paper. They play them on the field. You're 100% right with that, brother. They added Dexter Lawrence, Kyle Duggar, Jonathan Allen, who you compare right next to Dexter Lawrence. As you mentioned, Boy Mafi from the world champion Seattle Seahawks. They signed Byron Cook. So for me, looking at this defense, Shamar Stewart, the first-round pick last year, he's in a second. Right now he's on the depth chart. He would be second string in his position. They went out and got Cassius Howell from Texas Tech in this draft, another pass rusher to get this defense right. The weakest part of their defense to me, maybe linebacker with Demetrius King Jr., Barrett Carter, and Oren Burks. But to me, they need a solidified dog in that secondary. They have Dax Hill, Jordan Battle, Byron Cook, DJ Turner, and Jalen Davis. So I think they should go out and sign a free agent corner. I'm sure there's one that's solid enough that could come in and be that veteran presence that the Bengals need. But I expect the Bengals defense to be better. We know what the offense represents, led by quarterback Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Mike Gesicki,
Chase Brown in the backfield.
Chase Brown. They have Mitchell Tinsley, Aviasis. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing his name wrong.
Yoshi Bosch.
I'm sorry. Andrew Yoshibas. I'm sorry for butchering his name. They have a good enough offensive line. So we know what the offense is going to represent. To me, it's about the defense, and I think the defense can get timely stops, as you mentioned, as Tim always likes to mention on the show. Timely stops with defense can win you games. The Bengals are never going to be the first-ranked defense in anything, but again, the players that they've added, you can get timely stops, and like I said before, I think they should be the favorites right now going into the season for the AFC North. Now, obviously, I know you like the Ravens, so do you think the Ravens should be second behind them in the division, or should we finally show some love to the division winning Pittsburgh Steelers?
Yeah, that's funny. The Ravens are still, in my opinion, at least the second best team in the AFC North. Again, we talk about this on paper because I still think the Ravens, there's a question mark at center. Obviously, when you lose a All-Pro like Tyler Linderbaum and you don't draft a center, which was a little surprising to me, they're going the free agent route, probably trade route. I imagine they'll probably make a trade for or maybe sign another veteran center before the offseason is over. But, as far as, what I've seen, you have a couple of unproven rookies out of wideout, though. I really like Jacoby Lane. I like Surratt from Indiana that they added. Bigger, taller receivers that can go and get 50-50 balls. It's been a little concerned about their separation or lack thereof. But in my opinion, the Ravens, in my opinion, have needed a guy that can just say, hey, look, this place sucks or this play's not going to work. I'm just going to throw it to you. Go get it. I don't think the Ravens have had that guy really since Anquan Boldin. I'm not saying that these kids are going to be Anquan Boldin right away. We don't know anything. They're a bit of an unknown, which can be good, but can be bad. We'll see what happens. But I think there's still a little bit of work to do. I do expect the defense to be a whole lot better than they were last year. Ranking 30th in sacks last year, that's just not a Baltimore Ravens defense. So with Jesse Minter coming over, adding the pieces that they have, really like Zion Young. There's the second-round pick out of Missouri, to pair him with Trey Hendrickson, Mike Green coming back in his second year. Calais Campbell, even at the age of 40, he has actually played well the past couple of years, and he's actually up there still with the top DTs in the NFL. It's amazing. Guy's 6'8" and almost turning 40, but he's still playing effective football. And the specter of Nauni Madubuike, if the doctors are very optimistic that he's going to be back for the season to play football after that, career-threatening neck injury, that still remains up in the air. So a few bit of unknowns, but what I do know is that they're stable at quarterback with Lamar Jackson for the time being. We don't know what's going to go on with Aaron Rodgers. The guy dances to the beat of his own music. We have no idea what's going to happen. Everyone says they expect him to sign with Pittsburgh, but it's Aaron Rodgers. We can't sit here and expect anything when it comes to him.
Yeah, we can't, but I will. In this particular situation, Aaron Rodgers will be the quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I don't see just everything's lining up for that to be. I think he will be the Steelers starting quarterback. And I want to show the Steelers some love. I didn't give them no love last year. I thought them winning the division was a farce. Was farce, was fictional, couldn't happen. It was funny, it wasn't even a thought. But if you look at the additions that they added to the team, they've added some good additions. Rico Dow, they added him to play behind Jalen Warren. So you got 2 good running backs. They drafted Jermaine Bernard from Alabama. They went out and traded for Michael Pittman Jr. So now you got 2 star receivers out there for your quarterback to throw the ball to. You still got Frymouth. They went out and drafted the offensive lineman. Went out and, tried to improve the offensive line as well. And we know that defense, even though it's old, they got some older names in Cameron Haywood, T.J. Watt, Jalen Ramsey. They went out and signed Jaquan Brisker. They went out and signed Jamel Dean to put on the other side of Porter Jr. and put Brisker right there in the backside with Elliott. So I think the Steelers I think the AFC North, as I said last week's show when I talked about the Cleveland Browns, I think the AFC North has a chance to be the best division in football. So
it'll be a dogfight for sure. And then the specter of Deshaun Watson possibly being number 1 in Cleveland. Cleveland's annoying. They'll compete in every game, of course. Pittsburgh Steelers are going to be the Steelers, but I still don't think they fixed the problem on their defense from last year. They really couldn't stop the run that well, and they have issues, on the outside. Like a lot of teams beat them with speedy receivers, and I don't think they really fixed that problem. And I think you're adding guys that are older and have had a long injury history. Jamel Dean, pretty good corner when he's out there, but injury history doesn't tend to get better as you get older.
No, I agree with that. The flip side on the injuries, I think the Steelers were an injury-rabbled team last year, so I think that pendulum swings this year where they'll be more healthy. They had injuries on the defensive line, which allowed teams to be able to run the ball on them. One thing about Steelers pride, Ravens pride, Giants pride, they pride themselves in the line of scrimmage, dominating line of scrimmages offensively and defensively, and I think the Steelers will get back to that. I'm not saying they're going to be the best defense in the league, but I think the names are actually play like the names are supposed to play. Guys up front matching with the linebackers, matching with the secondary to create one unit, as we call defense. And I think the Steelers have gotten better. And I think they'll have help this season. I think, like I said, I think the AFC North will be the best division in football in 2026. JG, our next topic we're going to go to in the NFL. Speaking of the AFC North has 3 new coaches. Obviously, Todd Monken in Cleveland, Jesse Minter in Baltimore, and Mike McCarthy in Pittsburgh, who takes over for Mike Tomlin, who resigned from the job as the head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Well, Mike Tomlin has a new job. He is now an analyst on NBC's Sunday Night Football Night in America. Your thoughts on Mike Tomlin taking that job?
It's awesome to have him, around the game. It's going to be fun to have him on Sunday Night Football, especially with them losing Tony Dungy, a legendary coach right there. So you replace a legend with another good legend, and that's definitely Mike Tomlin. This does, for football fans, put the specter of Mike Tomlin possibly returning to coaching. Because as we know, the great coach that came before Mike Tomlin, name escapes me right now. I feel so. Bill Cowher.
Bill Cowher.
When Bill Cowher went back to TV, a lot of people thought that he would return to coaching, but he never did. So we wonder if Mike Tomlin is going to follow suit after 19 years with one organization and winning 2 Super Bowls. You wonder if Mike Tomlin even wants to coach anymore, but it's still going to be awesome, to have him, have around the game and have him break down the game in a different way. Just having on NBC and Sunday Night Football.
Yeah, Mike won 1 Super Bowl. He went to 2, lost to the Packers. He beat Arizona.
That's right, guys.
1 out of 2, 50%, which is amazing. I know it's 50% failing grade, but if you can win a Super Bowl, that's an amazing feat. So, shout out to. And I wanted to speak on. We brought up this topic because I felt you was going to go in this direction. So I just want, in my opinion, shut the door on what I think is going to happen with Mike Tomlin. I don't think Mike Tomlin ever coaches in the NFL again. And if you look at the landscape of the NFL, there are only about 5 to 7 jobs you could say like blue blood jobs. The Steelers, he coached them. The Ravens, I don't see him taking that job. I think they like Jesse Minter. Kansas City.
That'd be the funniest thing in the world, though. But
yeah, Tom, they coach the Ravens. That'd be hilarious. If the Kansas City Chiefs, but if you look at what Andy Reid did, he went back and hired Eric Bieniemy as the offensive coordinator. Eric Bieniemy is this rah-rah guy. So I feel like that's going to add some years to Andy Reid. So I think he's going to want to ride out as long as he can with Patrick Mahomes. The Giants, they just hired John Harbaugh. The Cowboys, I don't think Mike Tomlin and Jerry would fit well because how Mike Tomlin is with the media. I mean, Mike Tomlin is good with the media, but Jerry is different with the media. So I don't know if Mike will want to do that. the Eagles, I thought about the Eagles, maybe Sirianni change at the end of the season if that, if their season doesn't go as planned or it doesn't go as they feel like it should go in Philadelphia. But looking at the landscape, I just don't see why he would leave that job. And you mentioned his predecessor before, Bill Cowher. He took the NFL Today job on CBS. He's been on the NFL he's been on CBS, the NFL Today, since he took that job. And Mike Tomlin, you mentioned Tony Dungy. Tony Dungy was the first to give Mike Tomlin an opportunity. Tony Dungy did the same thing. We kept hearing rumors like he would come back from, coach after he stopped coaching with the coach. He never came back. So for me, I don't think Mike Tomlin ever coaches in the NFL ever again.
Yeah, I don't think that's out of the question for sure. I mean, but I've seen crazy things happen. I mean, Bill Belichick's coaching college football. I mean, who had that on the bingo card? So I don't think it's out of the question that he coaches. Will it be the NFL? Will it be college? Who knows? I doubt college at this point. I want to throw DC in there as maybe like another desirable job, with the quarterback situation he got there. Not that Dan Quinn's doing a bad job at all. I think he's done an excellent job from where they were, but I wouldn't rule that out as like a possibility if that situation starts to get monitored, given how DC plays this year, maybe the year after. You never know. But history tells us that we're leaning towards the direction of not seeing the great Mike Tomlin on the sidelines again.
Yeah, I never thought about DC. That's a hell of a thought, brother. Just because of the fact that Mike Tomlin's not going to come out and coach a team that doesn't have a quarterback. So that has to be a need first. Then I'm sure he feels like I can take care of the defense. I just need a quarterback. So Jaden Daniels,
brand new stadium coming for DC soon. Like the draft's coming to DC next year. Like you never know.
Yeah, you never know. I'll give you that. You never know. Definitely. That's definitely one I didn't mention, but that's definitely one I could definitely see happen. But I just don't think he ever coaches again. I think the job at NBC is too cushy. And one more thing. Guess what his record is on NBC? He can go 0-17 in all the games he picked. Guess what his win-loss record going to be? 0. He's going to be 0-0. So at the end, you'll say 500. At the end of the day, my point is that he's going to be fine. You can't win in the studio and you can't lose in the studio. And NBC has a Super Bowl every 3 years, 4 years. They're in the rotation with ESPN, ABC, Fox, CBS. So they have it every 4 years. So that's a cushy job. You have the Super Bowl every 4 years. You're getting paid, watching the game. You break the game down. Great job to have. You get paid to watch football. Who wouldn't want to do that?
Sign me up, bro.
Sign me up. Congratulations to Mike Tomlin on that cushy job. And to me, if I'm wrong, I'll obviously come out and say, but I want to congratulate Mike Tomlin on what I think will be his swan son. I don't think he ever coaches again. Hell of a career. Tip of the hat to Mike Tomlin as a NFL coach. Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Highly Opinionated. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, this episode of Highly Opinionated is brought to you by Edibly Airy. Enjoy the heightened experience of THC edibles in a whole new way. At Edibly Airy, our freeze-dry edibles available in 100 milligram, 200 milligram, 300 milligram, 400 milligram will give you the buzz you crave with a flavor you won't forget. Available in 3 different flavors: watermelon sunset, tropical fruit, and berry. To place orders, please visit the website at ediblyairy.com. While you're there at ediblyairy.com, use a promotion code. You guys see the promotion code on the screen. $ Highly Airy, $. Again, $ Highly Airy, $ for 20% off your first purchase. Follow us on IG at Edibly Airy for new product releases and monthly hookups. Must be 21 and over to purchase. Edibly Airy, the best freeze-dry edibles out. Go shop. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Highly Opinionated. It's that time, the best segment in sports. This week's edition of Let's Talk About It, the Orlando Magic. Boy, they had an eventful first round, JG, wouldn't you say?
So eventful first round, eventful month, just where they started. You and I have agreed that they were probably the most underachieving team in the NBA.
Before you say that, let's let the people actually hear us and our thoughts on the Orlando Magic.
You got it.
There's one team that has been the biggest disappointment this season. I'll let you take a guess on who you think I'm talking about.
I mean, for me, I would say the Orlando Magic. Am I on base with you there?
Ding, 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 ding. Great minds think alike. The Orlando Magic. Yes. The Orlando Magic. Hey, bro, you know we was doing the show last year in June, right? And they made a trade. Grizzlies traded Bane to the Magic for 5 first-round picks, including Contavious Caldwell-Pope, Cole Anthony. 4 first-round picks, unprotected. 2005, 2025, 2026, 2028, 2030, and a pick swap in 2029. So they gave 5 picks for Desmond Bane. Ladies and gentlemen, you guys saw what we thought about the Orlando Magic. Well, the Orlando Magic made it official. They fired head coach Jamahl Mosley. He had a record of 189 and 222. He was 7-12 in the playoffs. However, he did lead the Magic to 3 consecutive playoff appearances. They could not get past the first round. They lost to the Cleveland Cavaliers in 7, lost to the Boston Celtics in 5, and they lost a tough 7-game series to the Detroit Pistons. Your thoughts on the Orlando Magic coaching job, and your thoughts on Jamahl Mosley, the Orlando Magic season as a whole?
Unfortunately, this is the game. You hire a guy to help rebuild your team, and then they finally get to a point where it's a watchable, relevant team, and they just run into a better team, and the guy ends up getting fired. That's kind of how the game goes. The Orlando Magic were an underachieving team, like we talked about before. You imagine with Paolo Banchero, with Franz Wagner, with the additions they made, with Desmond Bane trading all those picks they made for him. It was you can tell the Magic were going all in with this core they have. Well, the season just flat out. Now, in fairness to Jamahl Mosley, this team had dealt with injuries all season long. Like, these guys were barely together as a starting 5. They finally just got healthy, and we saw how good they did look against Detroit. To the point where it got a little frustrating, where it's like, hey, this is how good the Orlando Magic actually could have been. But in the end, you didn't lose Franz Wagner, your second best player on the team, and it just the burden fell so much on Paolo. He showed up in Game 7. I gained respect for Paolo Banchero in this playoff series because he balled out in that Game 7, went at it with Cade Cunningham. The difference is Cade Cunningham had Tobias Harris, Paolo Banchero did not. That was the difference right there. So Jamahl Mosley was coaching for his job. Fair or not fair, given everything I just said about the injuries and just the way that this season kind of went up and down, that's just kind of how the game goes. So it didn't really surprise me. It's unfortunate, but Jamahl Mosley, I'm sure he'll land on his feet and be picked up somewhere else because he's proven to be a very capable coach in the NBA. Because where the Orlando Magic were from when he first got there to where they are now, just expectations from that team versus where they were before. So Jamahl Mosley will definitely land on his feet, I think, somewhere else soon.
Game 6 in Orlando will live in infamy as an Orlando Magic fan. If you're an Orlando Magic fan, I know it's levels to it, but it's almost as painful as Nick Anderson missing those 4 free throws in 1995 against the Houston Rockets. So because you literally had a chance of putting Detroit away, and if they beat Detroit, why couldn't they beat the Cavaliers? You know what I'm saying? Like, if their team,
I would have picked them.
If their team got healthy, who's to say they couldn't beat Cleveland? So that Game 6 will live in infamy if you're a Orlando Magic fan. I mean, they couldn't make a shot, so it was a tough situation. Go ahead.
Yeah, Jay, it reminded me of it's funny. I recently watched the Netflix documentary with the Jailblazers. The Rasheed Wallace, Bonzi Wells on Portland Trailblazers team, and it took the Rasheed Wallace touched on that game they had against the Lakers, where they were beating the brakes off of Kobe and Shaq. Like, they had no answer for Rasheed Wallace in that game. They were up by as many as 15, going late into that game, and they just kept missing shot after shot after shot. And they just couldn't hold on to the lead. And then the Lakers went on and this is the beginning of their 3-run championship with Kobe and Shaq. But if you go back to that game, that Portland Trailblazers team was good enough to beat the Lakers. But after that collapse, after just not being able to make a shot, that's where that Game 6 in Orlando reminded me of.
I'll take it another game. It reminded me of Houston when they had Golden State Game 7 against KD and the Wood, and they couldn't make a shot. And sometimes that happens, but you have to be able to affect the game more by just shooting threes. And Orlando lived by, the old expression, you live by the 3, you die by the 3. Yeah. It's so funny. They had a segment used to have it on NBA when Rachel Nichols used to host The Jump. It's a make or miss league. You damn right. If you make them, you good. If you miss them, you bad. Like, that's pretty much how basketball comes down to. So, for me, as you said, I'm not surprised they fired Jamahl Mosley. It was wildly to be expected. The Magic shouldn't have never been an 8th seed. They shouldn't have never been that. So now Philadelphia being in that play-in position, that was injury related. The Orlando Magic, I know they had players in and out, but they still had a lot of their key guys in. They should have been better than they shouldn't have been playing than they like. Think about this: Atlanta, the Atlanta Hawks had a better record than them, and they traded their best player.
Yeah.
So to me, that makes no sense.
That's an indictment.
Orlando, yes, an indictment against the Magic for sure. So with Jamahl Mosley being fired, I have a list. I have a list of 3 assistant coaches who I think should get a chance at this job, and then I have 4 people who have already been coaches. So let me start with the I guess the OG list of coaches who I think should get a look at this job. Tom Thibodeau, Billy Donovan, Frank Vogel, and for me, Monty Williams. I think Monty Williams should get a look at this job. Young coach, I've seen him with a young coach. I've seen him take Phoenix. Obviously, you had a veteran president with Chris Paul, but Monty Williams and his leadership, along with the players, obviously helped get the Phoenix Suns to the NBA Finals a couple of years ago. The assistant coaches, who I have, are 3. Chris Quinn, Miami Heat assistant coach. He's long overdue for a job. He's been there for a million years. Like, I want to see him up in the elevated role. Sean Sweet, associate head coach of the San Antonio Spurs. He was formerly with the Dallas Mavericks. Like to see him get a role with an opportunity. He's been an assistant associate head coach for years now. He's basically been most guys' number 2 and number 3 coach on the bench. I see him in that elevated role. And for me, I'm biased. Maybe it's a Baltimore thing. Sam Cassell. Sam Cassell has coached under Doc Rivers. He's coached with Tyronn Lue. He's coached with Jim Leganera. He's coached under Brad Stevens. He's coached now under Joe Mazzulla. I think Sam Cassell should get a fair chance and a good opportunity for this job. So I gave you three assistant coaches: Sean Sweeney, Chris Quinn, Sam Cassell, and I gave you 4 OGs: Tom Thibodeau, Billy Donovan, Frank Vogel, and Monty Williams. The Billy Donovan connection had some ties with the Orlando Magic back in the day. In that Florida region, he obviously is familiar with that because he won 2 national championships at the University of Florida, back-to-back. First coach to do it. He obviously was topped a few years ago when I still got to say this name without pain, but Dan Hurley, the coach of UConn, he won back-to-back national championships. So, yeah. Anyway, let's get off of that.
You mean the Dan Hurley, the coach UConn?
Yeah, that coach. Yep. Back to Billy.
When the guy hit the shot to beat Duke and knocked him out of the tournament.
Billy Donovan and his ties in the Florida area. You feel me? I think that's why he would be a great coach. Be a great candidate for the Orlando Magic. You're terrible. What do you think about the list?
No, I like the list for sure. Sam Cassell for me, I was waiting for Sam Cassell for you to say that name. If you didn't, I would have gotten on you for that. Sam Cassell needs to coach an NBA team. It's at this point, it's gotten ridiculous. All these new guys coming up that we didn't know about, they're 20 years younger than Sam Cassell. This man has never gotten a head coaching opportunity. This man knows the game of basketball. He's been on championship teams with the likes of Akeem the Dream Olajuwon and Kane the Jet Smith. This guy understands how to win basketball games.
He was on that Celtics team that beat in 08 with KG, Paul Pierce, Ray Allen.
He won a championship. He was on the – come on, man. These guys played with some of the greatest players in the game, and he's never gotten a head coaching opportunity? That is ridiculous. The Orlando Magic should reach out to Sam Cassell today, tomorrow, at some point before the week is over to interview him for that head coaching job. I don't want to see – respect to the other guys who have not gotten their opportunity yet. I'm sure they will. Sam Cassell needs to be number 1 on that list to get a chance to be a head coach in the league. And I'll throw another name out there that a former player I think is also one of the former geniuses in the game of basketball as a player, Rajon Rondo.
I knew you was gonna say that name. I knew it.
Absolutely. Wow, Rajon Rondo. I mean, you talk about quintessential point guards. We think of Chris Paul. Rajon Rondo needs to be on that list. This guy was the engine of that Celtics team with Allen, Pierce, and Garnett. They don't win the championship they did without Rajon Rondo. So I think this guy is another guy that should be thrown out there. Again, no experience as an NBA coach, but as we've seen in recent years, that doesn't seem to matter with the likes of J.J. Redick coaching the LA Lakers, who's done a decent job. I think Rajon Rondo deserves to have some consideration if we're going to go that route of former player.
Jason Kidd, he first started.
Jason Kidd, Steve Nash, these guys.
Yeah, they didn't have any experience. One more thing about Rondo. So a couple years ago, before Kentucky hired Mark Pope, I wrote on Twitter, Kentucky should look at Rajon Rondo. So I'm not surprised by the name. I like the name. Only issue about the NBA, I get, but with that type of team, I feel like you at least want an assistant coach that's been around different personalities and stuff like that. I know Rondo's been around different personalities playing, but I would rather like Sam Cassell's been in the locker room more recently than Rondo. You know what I'm saying? So you know how to, he can check the temperature a little better than Rondo. Chris Quinn, Sean Sweeney, Tom Thibodeau, Billy Donovan. Billy Donovan just was coaching this season. Frank Vogel's an NBA, he's a former NBA champion with the Lakers, head coach of that team. Rondo was on that team in the bubble as well. Monty Williams led a up-and-coming team. Obviously, they added veterans in Chris Paul, Jay Crowder, etc. But he was the coach of a team that got to the finals. So for me, definitely I like Sam Cassell, but again, all the guys on this list should get a chance. Rondo should be included, but I just think what'll hinder him in this opportunity is that they probably want at least an established assistant coach, let alone an established head coach. Because the Magic, if you watch
Jamahl Mosley not experienced as an assistant coach?
No, he was, but I felt like that situation ran its course. And you can see it during this first round series against Detroit. They got a 3-1 and they just flatlined. Now, some of that had to do with injuries, but some of that to me had to do with coaching, bad decision making on the players. Like, for example, the game 6 I mentioned, the game they couldn't hit a shot. I'm calling the timeout as a coach. Next person that shoot a jump shot, you're coming out the game. I don't give a damn who you are. Take the ball to the basket, get some contact, get some fouls. What do the best shooters always say? I want to see the ball go in the basket. Let me do a floater.
Get to the damn free throw line. Like a layup is still okay in basketball, guys. It's still okay.
Folks, let me just say this. People complain about Shai Gilgeous-Alexander getting to the free throw line. Yeah, you complain about all he wants. You know what he's doing? He's staying in rhythm. James Harden, same thing. When he was in his apex, staying in rhythm. Luka Doncic is a free throw merchant. Stays in rhythm. Getting to the free throw line allows you to stay in rhythm, so your jump shot, so you can feel your jump shot. You feel me? So it's there. It's not like, I haven't shot the ball in a quarter and a half. You get what I'm saying? You're still shooting the ball, even if you're not shooting field goal attempts. So for me, I think
Kevin Durant was a free throw merchant for a minute, to the point where the league had to change the rules because of this. All this stuff he did. They changed the rules because of KD.
Yeah, the swing through. So for me, the fact is that Orlando has a talented team. You got Ben Curl, you got Wagner, you got Bane. They have players. You got Wendell Carter. So now it's about maximizing what you have. You got Anthony Black. You got Chase Richardson. You got some young up and coming guys. Let's develop them and let's try to see if we can take the next step. So
agreed.
Good luck to the Orlando Magic in their head coaching search, and best wishes to Jamahl Mosley. We know he'll land up on his feet either as an assistant or get another chance as a head coach. He didn't do a terrible job. He couldn't elevate them. They maxed out with him as the coach. They were a first round exit. That was the ceiling for them with him as the coach. Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Highly Opinionated. We will be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, this episode of Highly Opinionated is sponsored by Wolves of War. In some of the episodes, you can see my co-host and Ross wearing a brand called Wolves of War. Wolves of War is our first sponsor, ladies and gentlemen, and we are so thankful to have those guys sponsoring Highly Opinionated. Thank you very much. The actual meaning of Wolves of War is that it represents having a strong path behind you through the battles of life. With the right people behind you, you can get through anything. You guys see the link for Wolves of War? Make sure you guys click on the link, shop, great apparels, t-shirts, sweatsuits, whatever you want, they have. Once again, Wolves of War. Make sure you guys go shop. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Highly Opinionated. As you guys can see, we have a special guest. A long overdue guest, a guest that I owe a special thank you to for being flexible and adjusting to the busy schedules that we all have here on Highly Opinionated. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're looking for a physical trainer, if you're looking for a nutritionist, this is the best nutritionist and physical trainer I know. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up for the great, the wonderful Coach Sunshine. How you doing, Coach?
Thank you so much. I'm doing wonderful. How y'all doing? I appreciate the intro. The intro was wonderful. You did forget one part of my titles, but we'll get into it. But I am also a personal chef, so I had all three into my titles when I introduced myself as well. So we'll get into that as we talk about it. But yeah. I'm doing wonderful. Thank you for having me. I appreciate the introduction and the warm welcome. I appreciate it.
So I apologize. I butchered that. I should have put chef in there because on my 5th bullet point, I had chef. And my first question was going to be, what was your favorite meal to cook? So I butchered that. I apologize.
It's okay. We're here. We're here. We're gonna run it through.
Absolutely. We are we are blessed to have you here. As I said again, personal trainer, nutritionist, and personal chef. She does it all.
Yes,
Coach
sir.
Sunshine, we are blessed to be in your presence. My first, before I hand it over to JG, just get into your name. Where did the name Coach Sunshine come from?
I love this question. So I went to it kind of starts back with me cooking. I left, I'm from Baltimore, born and raised, well, Harford County, but in Maryland. I moved down to Atlanta in 2012. I went to culinary school and I wanted to be a personal chef. So I went by the lipstick chef because I love lipstick. It was one of my things. It's just how, how I did things. And then that was 2019. So COVID happened and we had to wear masks. And I'm just like, I'm not going to put a full face of makeup on to cook when the point of me is to be the lipstick chef. So it was one of those things where it just kind of felt funny because it felt more of a look than a feel, but I'm more of a feel person. So, um, yeah, and I bring the sunshine. I am that. I exuberate that. I bring that out to the world, and so that's where I kind of went with it. So I don't go by Chef Sunshine because I just feel like that's just a tongue twister in its own little way, especially if you say it fast. So I go by Coach Sunshine and then Chef Chris.
Chef Chris. I like that.
Yes.
So, Coach, focusing more on the personal trainer and nutritionist side, what do you believe separates you in that area from the other nutritionists and personal trainers out there?
Just being, I think more because of the fact that I do food. So I took nutrition as a course when I also did culinary. So it's one of those things that kind of brought me more into the world of just learning more about food and how it can help you. Because I've always been an athlete. So, and then because I went to culinary school, that's when I started to really be in the gym versus actually playing a sport. So it just makes me different because I just have those different experiences. I mean, all of us are different, but I just have that experience, especially with me being in culinary. I look at food a lot differently than most personal trainers do. Like they look at it as fuel, but also I look at it more as an art and just flavors and everything else. And a lot of them will tell you you just need to eat, but that's also a lot of the issue. Not a lot of them, because you see a lot of trainers and a lot of people putting out more flavorful recipes that are macro friendly. But still, just the in general population is more just about the fuel than what it actually should do with you. And you want to have a healthy relationship when it comes to nutrition, when it comes to working out and all that coming together. So I feel like that's just why I'm a little different.
Heard that, Jay?
Coach, tell us about the Sunshine Network, the origins of that. What is the Sunshine Network, and how can the world hear about the Sunshine Network?
So Sunshine Network is just what it was. So I went from the lipstick chef just being very central to changing everything, getting my personal training certification and my nutrition certification, and I wanted to make it more of an umbrella of a group. So I do personal training, personal chefing, nutrition, and of course that also can be bundled together. Just the nature of feeling. I like to put out a feeling more than a look, than because at the end of the day, a lot of people, especially in this space, a lot of people are looking for a personal trainer so that they can feel comfortable in their bodies. They want to look a certain way depending on what you're looking for. But a lot of people are just wanting to feel better in their bodies. So I want to bring that forward, that you can feel good in your body during, even though this process is not easy, but it's a worthwhile experience. And it's one of those things that it can just be different than what you've always seen. It's not going to be easy. I'm not going to be light on you because sunshine's still hot. Okay. But you know what I'm saying? But it's still a thing where you feel warm, you feel welcome, you feel energized, you feel ready to go, you feel like pushing to the next limit, going the extra mile. And where they can find me, well, I'm in Maryland now. I do have plans to move back down to Georgia, but I am online as well. So I am an online trainer as well as I do like being in person. I do like being in person because I'm big on form. So I am big on making sure I'm there to show you. Not that you can't show form, obviously in videos and things like that, but sometimes you just need to touch a person, move their knees back, sit them down a little lower, move their shoulders back some. So I do like that, but either way it goes, you're gonna get this work wherever I'm at. And that's also why I like being a personal trainer. I don't like being, I mean, sorry, not personal trainer, personal chef, is I don't like being put into one space. We had to do like restaurant when we were in culinary school, and I ain't really like that. So, and I ain't get a good grade on it either. So I'm just like, you know what? We need to find something different. So personal chefing is where I found my art form. And so bringing those two together with nutrition and fitness, I mean, food and fitness just makes the most sense. So that's why I brought them all together, and that's what the Sunshine Network is in a bundle. Just me cooking, making you feel good. And of course, it's not just, and that's the one thing, because I'm a personal chef, it's not just about feeding for macros and feeding for fuel. I actually, feed people if they want a romantic dinner at home and they want to have a nice get together with the family for a special occasion. I'm feeding the soul at the end of the day, whether it's the energy, whether it's the food, I'm feeding the soul. So that's where the sunshine, soul, which is sun in Spanish. Look at me. I'm going off. Ooh, sorry. I'm going off.
Don't,
But
don't
yes.
apologize. Don't apologize for personality on this show. Like we encourage it.
Absolutely. We love it. We encourage it. We want you to, so before I ask you the next question, funny question I get about when we try to get people on the show,
Mm-hmm.
like, what do you want to talk about? What do you like? No, I just want you to be you. I can work
Yeah.
with we can work with everything. Like, we just want people to be them. So your energy is infectious. You feel me? It's just, you can catch it through the phone. You feel me, in a positive way. So congratulations on all
Yes.
your success and everything that you have going on. My next question
Yes,
is,
sir.
you went to culinary school. You actually went to the Art Institution of Atlanta. Talk about your time. You talked about being down in Georgia, moving from Maryland to you said Harford County to Georgia. Talk about
Mm-hmm.
at the Art Institution of Atlanta. How did that experience affect you and shape you into the energy, effervescent, beautiful person that we have on the show right now?
So moving to Atlanta. So that was the first time ever moving away from home. I've never lived anywhere else other than Hartford County. And so it was a huge change. Everybody, still parents, siblings, aunts, uncles, cousins, a lot of them live still up here. So it was a really hard adjustment, even though that's exactly where I wanted to be at. It was a super hard adjustment for sure. Because I mean, I'm 18. I literally graduated high school a month before I left to go live in Atlanta for 11 years. So yeah, like it was a big jump, huge risk. Art Institute gave me a lot of beautiful connections. I still talk to a lot of the people that I started with. Adopted some big siblings. Shout out to my big sister and my big brothers. But they just gave me a lot of connections. And then growing up, I was introduced to food differently. So we just had to kind of survive. Not that we were like in in a certain lower class, but it was just my mom wasn't, she just wanted to make sure we were fed. Cooking was not her fun thing. She just wanted to make sure we were fed. So like I ate and it was fine. I was a picky eater growing up. She didn't like a lot of things, so I didn't eat a lot of things. So growing up culinary school really opened up a whole lot more for me. It was able to see more fresh ingredients, seeing things differently, being able to touch things differently, seeing one thing turn into something completely different. A lot of things I grew up with were bags, boxes, and cans. So being able to see things out in farmers markets and going through the culinary cabinets and fridges and stuff like that, seeing how things come in, checking fresh seafood and fish, and breaking things down from whole to the parts that people see in their regular grocery stores or when they go to restaurants. Like seeing all that just brought so much more out of me. And I'm still a creative. I'm just not, I like to color. I love to color. And painting is fun, but I'm not an artiste in that aspect. But my art is on the plate. So that's how I express myself. Art evokes emotion. So I bring emotion with food. Food connects us. And that's why it's more than just fuel. However, you still gonna get what you need depending on what you want from me. So again, I love to customize. I love to make sure that people get exactly what they need from me, what they need for themselves. I love to take, I like to do criticism. Again, tell me what you need me to change. Tell me what you don't like, because I don't want you to again have a bad experience with food. I want you to let me know how things can be better so we can try again, so you can grow in that space. So yeah, all of that, culinary school, Art Institute of Atlanta, rest in peace, but they were the bee's knees. I will say I felt like I could have just went to restaurants in Atlanta and have grown in a different space. But again, the space that I've taken and the path that I've taken, don't take it for granted. I love what I did. I made a beautiful life living in Atlanta. I met beautiful people living in Atlanta, trying to get back to those beautiful people, trying to meet more beautiful people. Of course, I have a connection here in Maryland, so it gives me still a connection to still be there and here. So it works because I've been working while I'm in Maryland. I've been back for about almost 3 years now. So I've been working, still working, networking, things like that. So it, my God, a blossoming child. I spent all of my 20s down there. So I've grown a lot. I grew a lot. I grew a whole lot. I'm still growing. I've not grown. I'm growing. So yeah, that's just the space that I'm in and the space that that gave me to grow and learn and see things differently. Had to see things without the veil on them, see things without my parents and the immediate guidance. So, you know, they were always still there. Parents are still I'm still very close with my parents, but, you know, just had to see differently as a young lady still going and growing into adult. So yeah, that's what Atlanta did for me. And our institute did its thug thizzle. I appreciate the time, the people that I met, the people that I had to unmeet. But you know, that's just part of the growing experience. And
Yeah.
that's just how things go. You know what I'm saying? Not everybody can come with you. So that's just how I gotta go.
Yeah, on the journey, you'll have a lot of people on that journey, and some of the people will fall off. It's not on purpose. It's just because everyone on the journey can't go up with you. They can go down with you. They definitely
Mm-hmm.
can go down with you. But as you go up, everybody
Okay.
can't go up to the top floor with you. Not to be funny, it's the reason why the penthouse is the penthouse suite. You feel me? So it
Period.
wasn't the penthouse suite. It'd be the
Damn.
Okay.
Damn.
come on now.
Bars.
Okay.
Come on now. You know, I watched
Bars. All right,
a few
JD. God damn.
I watched a few James St. Patrick Powers in my day. So yeah, I know about the penthouse suite. I know about
Thank you,
I
sir.
know that's right. We
Thank
over
you,
here
Joe.
spitting. That's what I'm talking about. That's just how
it.
I go.
Nah, for
Thank
real.
you.
JG, you know, come on, bro. Like, you know, like
All right.
everybody, you know, as you go up, like you're gonna have certain people that's with you that's been supportive. Like, for example, my brother, JG, been supportive of me since day one. So yeah,
Mhm.
that journey keep going. Some people, you know, like, all right, you know, you doing this, like, all right, yo, I'm gonna get off on this stop. All right, bro, well, you do you, I'm gonna do me. So, coach, I definitely understand what you're saying. Love that Georgia, the great state of Georgia, has helped shape you into the beautiful person, beautiful woman that you are now. Congratulations on all your success. I keep saying that, but I genuinely mean that. I think that we as people is for me. I think it's good to congratulate people on their success because it strives you for something like you as a. I'm not saying you're a role model, but as a you can be that, and that's a model that you can set a role to be. Like,
Uh-huh.
coach did this, coach did that, etc. So, go ahead, JJ.
Yeah, that's my last question for you. Would be what would be the advice you would give someone who's on a similar journey like yourself, or dare I say the same journey? What advice would you give that person?
Can I curse?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know if I've been cursing. That's really funny. Have I been cursing? I don't know. Cause I just anyway, just fucking do it. Just fucking do it. So I
Enough said. I got
I
you.
am yeah, like when it comes to this thing, cause like again, I still work, well, not necessarily full time. I work two part-time jobs. I'm wearing one of them. I work for a nonprofit in Baltimore City. I work with kids. I do after school cooking, and then I also work at the university out in Towson, and I work as a supervisor out there. So it's just like it's one of those things where it's just like you just have to do it, and there's still a lot of things that I can still do, so I just have to keep doing them. So just like everybody else, you just have to keep doing. You really, it's so funny and it sounds so cliche, but you really don't know who you're inspiring when you just put yourself out there. Like you really just don't know. Like I posted something and it was a physique check, but I was just like, you know what? I'm just gonna put this up because I'm admiring it. I hope y'all have a great day. And someone hit me up. One of my old childhood friends was like, "This is inspiring," and I'm just like, "Girl, I didn't even do a lift yet. I was just getting ready for the lift, and they said it was inspiring, and I said, and I just showed up, and I just showed up, and it's just sometimes it gets hard that time. It gets hard showing up, and this is a practice. So I'm saying this in a practice. Like I'm saying this because I know I have to still do this every single day. It sounds easy. It's always easier to say than it is to do, but I have to say it to myself often. So fucking do it. show up, stay on it. Grace, but don't give too much grace where you just feel like you have to keep forgiving, like you can't. Because, sometimes you're like, well, I'll just give myself grace for that. Or, I'll just be sorry for that. I'm sorry. Sometimes we get so wrapped up in that we're still pushing ourselves back. And it's like we can't keep always having a saving grace, because the only person that's going to save you is you. So, and I'm learning that. And of course, I have a beautiful support system in Maryland and Georgia. My family is super supportive. I have really a great tribe. So if you have that, and if it's not your family, if you have some type of support, and that's what community is about. So again, going out there and meeting people off the whim and just talking to people and being out there and showing up as self, being authentic. You don't know how many people you touch and you learn about when you just show up as yourself for what you need to do, for what you said you're going to do, for what you put your mind to, showing up. So yeah, that's what I would say to somebody that's on this journey, is showing up in all the capacities, showing up.
Yeah, there's a fine line with that. Giving yourself grace, but not being too hard on yourself. I have a hard time, giving myself grace, like, with anything, but it's kind of like my way of keeping myself on edge, keeping myself focused. I'm still working on, like, a healthy balance of giving myself grace, but it's also
Right.
part of what makes me like the hard worker that I try to be. And, you said it, showing up. I schedule my workouts every week. The hardest part is showing up. It's easy to show up day one where it's like, hey, the energy's here, like we're starting something new, or, day 2, day 3, that you're hyped. But then what happens in week 3? Tuesday morning, Tuesday evening, and week 3, it's like that's when it starts getting harder to show up. That's when you feel tired. I'm sore here. Maybe I should give myself a day off. That's where you just do it. You show up and you grind. That's the mindset that I try to keep with myself, but I also love that having it around me.
Yes, and it's just giving, because even those days, rest is still progress. You know what I'm saying? You still need because again, I've seen things happen when you don't sleep. Okay. So when you don't get proper rest, things don't work out for you. And I'm not sure y'all might have not mentioned it, but kind of alluded to it. But as a religious person, not a religious person, a spiritual person, God will sit you down. God will sit you down. So it's one of those things where if you don't go ahead and do what you need to do, he'll find a way, and it ain't gonna be what you want. So it's one of those things where, again, it's finding that healthy balance, not giving yourself too much grace, but also knowing that, again, if you miss a mark, okay, miss that mark, get to the next mark. Don't sit here and keep wallowing in the fact that you missed that mark and what you could have did better. We can always do reflection, but reflection, we have to also move forward with that as well. So for sure.
Absolutely. Coach, it's not summer yet, springtime. So, men and women, they're furiously trying to get their bodies in tip-top shape for the summer. Get that summer body. So we have you on, obviously. We went through personal chef, nutritionist, but personal trainer. So just what advice would you give to people that's trying to get their summer body right? What advice, what steps, what workouts, etc.? The floor is yours, Coach.
So, for someone that's also still human and still going through life and still falls off at times, what I'm doing currently and what you can do is just stay on it. I record all of my workouts. I record them whether it's on the phone or in an app, or I actually like to write out my workouts and what I do so I can keep track of things. Because like JG said, week 3, it's you get tired, but you have to show up. But then you don't want to show up confused. You don't want to show up not knowing what you're going to do, because then that makes it a little more hard. It makes it harder to show up because then you're confused trying to show up. So keeping track of what you're doing keeps you on check. Same things that you see on a lot of social media, to be honest with you. Not like a crazy bunch of workouts, but drinking your water, getting your sleep, getting in steps, being moving. It doesn't necessarily have to be always super hard weights. It doesn't have to be Pilates 5 times a week. But movement daily, it builds up. It builds up. That daily movement builds up. So whether it's stretching daily for 15 minutes and then you go for a walk, that adds up. And then sometimes your walks get a little longer because now you're like, oh, well, a mile is not doing it for me anymore. Let me go a mile and a half. You start to just kind of push yourself. And then again, when you record it, whether it's on your watch or on your phone, you're able to see the progress. Pictures, recording, even food tracking. Again, I've done food tracking. Food tracking is not a bad idea, but again, whatever works for you works for you. I'd still like to read nutritional labels, so I like to read my calories, my proteins, my macros, my micronutrients, things like that. But I'm just not always tracking them as vigorously. But again, I know that I need to be burning more than I'm eating. So if you're trying to lose weight, you need to burn more than you're eating. I literally just had this conversation with one of my employees at work today. You got to burn more than you're eating. If you want to gain weight, you need to eat more than you're burning, but not just eating. Be intentional. All of this is intentional. You show up intentionally. If you just do things willy nilly, you're going to get willy nilly back. You show up intentionally, you'll get intention back. Again, the energy, that's how it works. Whatever you put in is what you get back. Energy doesn't go anywhere. It just goes wherever you make it. So, in more or less words, don't start quoting me on stuff. But but that's what I will tell you because that's the space I'm in. Right now, I'm have a goal for the year of doing at least 4 5K, so one per quarter. So my second one is going to be in June, but I want to kind of do another one either this month or early June. But again, finding things, bringing your friends along. Some people don't have people that they feel comfortable, like they don't feel comfortable doing things themselves, or they don't know who to bring, or they're around the people that make them feel bad. Because sometimes you do get caught up in those crowds where you want to be around people, but they're not always the greatest people. They don't make you feel good, whether it's intentional or unintentional, whether they're talking about you or talking about somebody else that may look like you. Be around people that actually support your goals and what you want to do, because that also helps push the progress. Find somebody that wants to walk with you. Find somebody that wants to take a class with you. Find somebody that wants to go a hike. Me and my cousin do a quarterly hike. We're going to go on a hike 2 weekends from now. We'll be going and hike somewhere in Annapolis, and we're gonna hike. I don't know how long, but also again gets my steps in, gets my time in, and it just makes it more enjoyable. Find something that makes it enjoyable because it's hard. So you need to find the joy in it. If you find the misery and you get to do these things, gratitude, you get to do these things. You don't have to do anything, you get to do these things. So finding gratitude, recording progress, showing up, bringing people along, drinking your water and resting. All these things will get you where you need to go. But again, if you want to be, and don't think that you can do mind you, I do juices. I actually provide juices as well. I do fresh pressed juices, only fruits and vegetables. I don't add anything extra to my juices. But don't think you can do a juice cleanse and that'll sustain you all summer. Now, if you want to do something, if you want to do one of those cleanses or a raw vegan cleanse or something like that, just know that you have to find ways to sustain it. That's where people fail. They start to do these things, crash, whatever, and then they don't sustain it. And then they get mad when they're back in the cycle again. You need to find things that actually work with your lifestyle. You don't have to necessarily subtract everything from your lifestyle to get where you want, but you just need to be intentional. Those are the things I would say, literally intention in a lot of the things that you do. And that's not just in fitness, but in all of life will show up as you need them to. And again, you staring at the mirror all the time is not going, you're going to get discouraged. If you're looking at the mirror all the time and trying to look at every dimple or every muscle that might pop out, I feel like my left bicep is smaller than my right bicep. I don't know what that's about, but I know I'm strong. But then I get on the scale and scale says something different. Find ways to make it like you don't go crazy. Because again, when you're trying to build muscle, the scale's not going to move. If you're losing weight, you're losing fat, gaining muscle, your scale's not going to move but so much. It might even get bigger. So then you get discouraged. So we have to find other ways. Do your clothes fit better? What does the tape say? Tape measure is also a nice little indication because it'll show you good growth. It ain't showing you, you'll see the definition when you wrap the tape around type stuff. Like you just have to find ways to make it enjoyable during a tough time because working out, it's a beautiful thing, but it's not easy. It's not easy. You have bodybuilders doing Pilates and they getting their butts beat, but then you have people trying to do pull-ups and they can do all these other things. I can't do splits. So it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like everybody has their thing, but you just got to find what makes it enjoyable for you. And it's going to suck, but it's going to be fun and it's going to be worth it. Find the fun in it. And that's what a personal trainer is supposed to do. And the community is supposed to do. It's supposed to make it fun for you because this journey, when you're doing it by yourself, can get really hard So I do recommend finding you someone that can keep you on top of your stuff. Find you an accountability partner. Find you someone that you can talk to that can be supportive or can join you. So those types of things. Again, it's a beautiful thing to be active, and we're getting older. We're not getting any younger. Tomorrow I'll be older. I've been 32 for a month and some change now. So, you know what I'm saying? We're just only going to get older. So, take care of your body now while you can. Love your body while you can. Love it in every stage. That also gets very hard. That also gets very hard. Love yourself in every stage.
I'm laughing.
Because
Yeah.
when you start to pick on yourself, again, like I said, staring in the mirror, picking on yourself, you'll get in your head a lot. Love yourself at every stage. Because if you know you're going for progress, you're not going to look like that no more. And then you can say thank you to that body for showing up when I needed you to. And this is what I look like now because you showed up. Love yourself at every stage.
Coach, I'm laughing right now because I swear to God, you were just talking to me. Like, I'm so guilty of looking in the mirror, nitpicking, and like just saying, well, I'm even like, I did all this stuff like a 30-day challenge and I actually gained weight, but I also didn't realize in the body scan that I actually lost fat and gained muscle. That's why I gained weight. The only thing I paid attention to was, damn, bro, you got bigger, you got fat. So that's when it's like, I'm like, yo. And it took me a couple of days to kind of snap out of it, kind of getting like the whole big picture of it. So I was laughing because that's definitely, I ain't gonna lie to y'all, I'm guilty of that.
And people are guilty of it all the time. And then we get hard on ourselves and then we want to beat ourselves up. And then that's when people can derail sometimes. It's just like, well, if I'm just going to be this big, I might as well stay this big. And it's like, bro, it ain't all that, yo. It ain't really, it's not all that. I promise you it ain't that bad. Again, the numbers be tricky. Again, these are for your everyday people. There's only a small percentage that are doing what a lot of the people are doing on social media. There's people that are doing bodybuilding and being super strong. So that looks different across the board. So there are people that are doing crazy eating nutrition plans and meal plans and workouts because they're trying to look a certain way. Baby, if you just want to be cute for the summer, do what works for you so you can sustain it after summer's over, because the way once you start this journey, it don't stop. So be okay with what you're doing because you're going to be doing it forever. So that's another thing. Again, make it work for you because you're going to have to do it for forever. Of course, if you have different goals, then they will shift. But overall, whatever if you start the gym and you want your body to look a certain way, baby, the gym, unless you want to go up under the knife, and again, it's your body, your choice if that's what you want to do. But we're talking about fitness. If you want your body to be what it wants to be for the rest of its life, you got to work on it at every point, at every time. So find things that are sustainable so you can stick with it.
Stay ready so you ain't gotta keep getting ready. Why
That's hard.
The gym open past summer. The gym's open in the fall. It's open in the winter during the snow. It's open in the spring. Why not get ready now so you ain't gotta keep getting ready so you can stay ready?
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing about it. It just gets, people get wrapped up in getting ready for the summer, so they freak out a month before summer. But it's like, babes, you just have to keep it sustainable, because then that's when things can get dangerous. Because when you lose a whole lot of weight at one time, or gain a whole lot of weight at a really fast rate, it's not healthy. We want things that are healthy. We want things that are good for us, not just aesthetics. And people do things for aesthetics, and that's their prerogative. But just make it make sense for you. But just be safe about it. Be safe, be healthy, have fun. The things we learn as kids: be healthy, be safe, have fun. Those are the things we've learned since childhood. Keep those up in different aspects of our life. Just do those things. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Coach, great words, great advice. You said it best. Like, people wait till the last second. And we're born in that, like, we're part of that society. We're part of people of society. Like, we wait till the last second. Like, you got a paper due. It's due on May the 1st. I'm gonna do it April 30th at 11:59. Like, bro, you got the whole month of April. I'm gonna do it on the 30th of April at 11:59. I'm gonna do my term papers due at midnight at 12 o'clock. I'm gonna start doing it. All right.
I love a little pressure.
Make this happen. I can start this around like 10:30. I'll have it done by 12. Like, no, you need to start earlier. And you said it best. Like, if we start things ahead of time instead of just waiting, like, oh, it's getting warm outside in March, I need to start. No. You start your body in November when it's getting cold outside. You feel me? So, and you don't have to go to the gym and just work out. You can work out in your house. I do sit-ups. I do push-ups. I have weights. You have certain things. So you don't have to do that. Eat right at home. You feel me?
Your
So
body weight is a beautiful tool because you have to learn how to move your body before you start adding a bunch of weight. So beautiful form technique starts with your body first. Learn your body first and then start adding weights. The way calisthenics is a thing where it's just body weight and stuff to hold up yourself, baby, it's you can do it. You can
absolutely,
do it. You just gotta start. Start again. I'm not ashamed to say it because it happens to regular people. Stopping is a real thing, but
absolutely,
quitting is not. I'm not gonna quit. There's times where, life, things happen. We can stop a little bit. We can be a little off track a little bit, but quitting is not the option. And that's why you have to just make it a little realistic. Like stopping is part of life sometimes. Sometimes we get off track. It is okay.
yeah,
You're okay. But don't lose your way. Try your best to not lose your way so that you can get back to where you need to be at. And sometimes that's what I have to do for myself. I got to find my way back because I get caught up in a whole bunch of stuff. And then I'm like, why do I feel so horrible? Oh, wait, I haven't been in the gym in like 3 weeks. Maybe that's why I feel like this. So let's get that back where I need to go. And we've been in the gym consistently, and I already see changes. And yeah, simple as that. Once you
that's
start showing up, just it shows. It shows.
absolutely. Coach, we're gonna get you out of here on this last question. You mentioned earlier that you play sports. What
Yes.
sports did you play? I know you have an affinity for track and field. I know that, but what sports did you play in high school? And talk about your love for track and field.
So the very first sport I've ever played for real was basketball. I played that in at the age of 8, and then I played soccer, and then track and field was the last of the grouping. So those are the three that I went to high school with. And what was the question again? I'm sorry. The sports I did and what you said.
Your love for track and field.
Oh,
I
LOL. So much
know
love.
you
So
played track and field.
love track and field. And it's so funny because I actually did one of my first track workouts in a while last week, and mixed emotions. I love track. Track was a big part of my growing years from the age of 12 to 18 was when I was really in track. I started at the age of 12. Once I graduated high school, that was it. And then I went down to Georgia. So it was like one of those things where like a lot of formative years, track taught me a lot going into also other sports. So, and then of course, my father is the reason why I got into track. He did cross country in high school. So he was my first track coach. He was my first coach in basketball as well. But he's the biggest reason why I love track, but he's also one of the reasons why track has a hold on me differently. Because definitely when I was at the track last week, I could hear his voice, and I'm like, bro, can I just run? Can I just run? I just want to run. I just want to do my workout so I can go home. I don't need you hollering at me. He wasn't there. He was not there. But that's what But love my pops down. But the love for it is just the bodies are always banging. It was just a beautiful discipline. It's a beautiful technique. Again, I'm big on technique and form, love technique and all the sports that I did. But track just has a different hold on me. And then just, I love watching track. Like the sportsmanship, the racing, the adrenaline, the different activities, the different events. Sorry, activities, LOL, events. Those types of things just really get you into, because I also did long jump. So, and I tried high jump. I'm more of a long jumper than a high jumper, but I do got some hops on me. However, those types of things also, again, technique, just learning different forms, seeing your body move in the way it does, seeing what you can do when you just practice. Again, a lot of the practice that we do is for between 12, some people 11, but 12 seconds as a minimum and as long as an hour, depending on what you're doing. Like the events, you just train so much for these things and it's such a short amount of time, but the work behind it is just so grueling, but it's beautiful. And then you weightlift. That's when I actually first started weightlifting. So like I like to deadlift. Um, I love to deadlift. That's my thing. But so I got into weightlifting because of track. So again, another reason to connect me back to track. Because I did weightlifting in high school for track. So it was one of those things where it was just like, yeah, track is that girl, that guy, that person. Love track down. I don't know what life would look like without track, but I'm thankful. And my thighs. The foundation. So we've talked about showing up. My foundation, I became quadzilla after my first year of track, and I've never lost my quad since. And that was 20 years ago. Again, I don't know what that looked like for everybody, but track gave me a beautiful gift that I will never not love it for. That I can take with me everywhere.
I
Thank
hear that.
with the God, with God willing.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's always great when you have a sport, whether it's basketball, football, baseball, soccer, hockey, lacrosse. We had a great guy on last week speaking on lacrosse, and now you
Mm,
can feel it's always great when you have a sport that can just connect you. Like you're one with it, and it's one with you.
mhm.
You don't have to be in the NBA, you don't have to be in the NFL, you don't have to be Usain Bolt, but that doesn't mean the sport that doesn't mean you don't connect to the sport. My
Absolutely.
my co-host played at the University of Maryland basketball. I'm a Duke fan. I hate Maryland, but at the same time, I understand the greatness that they have. I
I know,
understand.
right? I know, right?
Huh?
Go ahead, sir.
What did he say?
He was talking about my face because I made a
Oh, yeah.
not a Duke fam.
Oh
Ooh.
yeah. Come on now. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't.
I wasn't ready for all that, but it's okay. I know that.
No, don't. Hey, yo, don't start y'all stuff today either. Don't start y'all stuff. I'm good. I don't want to talk about the
We're
last.
good. We almost done. We was
I'm good.
we've been cool. All we've been
I'm
So,
cool, man.
good.
I
hey,
just
coach,
I love blue. Blue's my
hey, coach,
favorite color.
hey, coach, remember when remember when the NCAA championship UConn hit that shot and like beat Duke in the Elite Eight? You remember that?
This guy's terrible. Terrible. Anyway, I understand the greatness that Maryland has. I hate North Carolina.
Lord!
I understand the greatness that North Carolina has. North Carolina State, Wake Forest, etc. So you don't have
Mm-hmm.
in the highest of the highest to have a sport connect with you. And I love
Absolutely.
track and field has connected with you and turned you into the great superstar, the great coach that you are, the great personal trainer, nutritionist, and personal chef. Coach Sunshine, it was a privilege and an honor to have you here on Highly Opinionated, and we look forward to having you back on the show.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you both. You guys are both wonderful. I loved our fun, our energy, and I can't wait to come back. I can't wait to kiki with y'all some more. Okay.
We can't wait to have you back, Coach. You're doing an amazing job, ladies and gentlemen. Coach's Instagram will be linked on the show's page, on the Instagram page, and on the YouTube page when the episode comes out. So you'll be able to follow it. If you're looking for a personal trainer, looking for a nutritionist, looking for a personal chef, there is no one better than Coach Sunshine.
That's
Ladies,
me.
ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a quick break. You're watching Highly Opinionated. We will be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, this episode of Highly Opinionated is brought to you by Edibly Airy. Enjoy the heightened experience of THC edibles in a whole new way. At Edibly Airy, our freeze-dry edibles available in 100 milligram, 200 milligram, 300 milligram, 400 milligram will give you the buzz you crave with a flavor you won't forget. Available in 3 different flavors: watermelon sunset, tropical fruit, and berry. To place orders, please visit the website at ediblyairy.com. While you're there at ediblyairy.com, use a promotion code. You guys see the promotion code on the screen. $ Highly Airy, $. Again, $ Highly Airy, $ for 20% off your first purchase. Follow us on IG at Edibly Airy for new product releases and monthly hookups. Must be 21 and over to purchase. Edibly Airy, the best freeze-dry edibles out. Go shop. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Highly Opinionated. JG, as always, we're going to finish the show speaking on the NBA playoffs. You know, with the scheduling quirk that we had with that mock draft, we weren't able to get our first-round picks out, so people don't know who we thought were going to win the first-round series. However, we will have our picks out through the remaining of the playoffs. We have that scheduling quirk next year. We'll make sure we put that out on the Instagram page so our picks are out there. But JG, let's start off with the second round. We are down to the final 8 teams, final 4 in the East and final 4 in the West. Let's start off with the Philadelphia 76ers. They come back from a 3-1 deficit against the Boston Celtics. They beat them in Game 7 to advance to take on the New York Knicks. Game 1, you guys see the schedule on the screen. Game 1 is Monday night, 8 o'clock on NBC and Peacock. Game 2 is Wednesday night, 7 o'clock on ESPN. Both Game 1 and Game 2 will be in New York. Game 3 and Game 4 will move to Philadelphia. Game 3 will be Friday, 7 o'clock on Amazon Prime. And Game 4 will be 3:30 on ABC. The New York Knicks advanced here by struggling with the Atlanta Hawks the first 4 games, and then after the first 4 games, after the first 3 games, and after the first 3 games, they demolished the Hawks. Game 4, Game 5, and Game 6. The score was 40-15 at the end of the first quarter. It was the true definition of BTA, belt to ass. So that is how both teams have advanced to this matchup. JG, simple question. Who advances to the Eastern Conference Finals? The New York Knicks or the Philadelphia 76ers?
I got to tell you, Jay, it's going to be a 7-game series, but something's telling me that the Philadelphia 76ers are going to advance to the Eastern Conference Finals. I can't believe I'm saying it.
What? What? Not the team that I've been trying to tell you about for a year and some change now. No, not them. No, ladies and gentlemen, I've never played college basketball. I'm not as gifted as my co-host. This brother right here, I'm not as gifted as him. What do I know? I've been telling y'all about the Sixers for a minute now. Man, they always stay hurt. I
can't believe this right here, man. I can't believe this, boy.
Blame the Celtics. I didn't do that. They did. Blame the Celtics. Bro,
they did it. They did it all right. It's what they didn't do. They couldn't make a damn three.
Yeah, couldn't make a shot. In all seriousness, I'm giving you a hard time. I'm not going to go too crazy with the
I deserve you getting a hard time.
No. I'm not going to go too hard with it. This is the reason why. Whoever wins this series, I think, wins the Eastern Conference.
I agree.
Okay, so
I 100% agree.
So, with that being said, I think Philly has some things go their way in that series, i.e., Boston, the way Boston plays, and Jason Tatum not being fully 100%.
Yeah. So
I can't give you a hard time for that. Now, if they beat the Knicks, then I can give you a hard time for that because the Knicks are playing the best in the Eastern Conference as you know up to this point.
Yeah, like I said, I can't believe that we're here. Like, just I really can't. Like, I'm sorry. I had like everyone was like, Philly won one game. Okay, cool. Boston's going to dominate and win this game in 5 instead of a sweep. And then just Joel Embiid. I mean, I got to give this guy credit, man. Like, I tipped my cap to this guy. I was genuinely concerned about this guy's well-being playing basketball. Like, it's everything after another with this guy. And yet, even in Game 7, Tyrese Maxey gets knocked into his knee. And the man is laboring. He's not coming out. He's out there battling. There's a point on the floor where like he's laying on the floor. 5 people are literally trying to stretch this guy to keep him upright. So it's amazing, and I have so much respect for Embiid to continue to fight and battle. And when he's out there, 2 years ago when the Sixers played the Knicks, I saw this man on literally on one leg, average damn near 30, maybe more than that, and they couldn't do anything with him. And so you're telling me if I can get that kind of Embiid with a much improved Tyrese Maxey, who's so damn fast, like there's nobody on New York can guard him. First of all, let's get it out the way. There's nobody on the Knicks that can deal with Tyrese Maxey, and he's a better shooter now. And you got VJ Edgecombe coming on. He's been shooting the ball a lot better now than he was in the beginning of the year. Paul George is giving me something. Like I watched PG the other night. I was like, that was like PG. So I got that. And now Joel Embiid, Kelly Oubre, who's been an unsung hero in the playoffs with the way he can guard and switch 1 through 3, 1 through 4. That's an underrated thing that Philly has needed and has gotten. And now you're telling me Joel Embiid, you can give me something out there. You ain't gotta give me 100%. I just want to know if you can play. Because if you can play, it's a different story. Because you and I agreed on this with the Knicks. Their 2 best players, Jalen Brunson, Karl-Anthony Towns, they are not good defenders. Karl-Anthony Towns fouls out. I can get Karl-Anthony Towns to foul out. That's how bad a fouler he is. He just doesn't play defense, or he's just not good at it. Jalen Brunson at least tries, but he's not a good defender. So you want him to now again. Which Karl-Anthony Towns am I going to get? That's the other X factor. What the Knicks have done we saw in the Atlanta series that they really made Karl-Anthony Towns the center of the offense. They made him the hub. They gave him the ball up top. They let him be the facilitator, and they switch off of Karl-Anthony Towns being up front and letting him be the facilitator. That's proven to be an effective offense, and if they continue to do that, that'll still be formidable. Which is why I think this game's going to go 7 games for sure, because the Knicks are a good team. They have a lot of offensive firepower, but it's going to come down to who can play better defense. And I think Philly has a little bit more momentum because I didn't, as great as the Knicks beat the brakes off of Atlanta in Atlanta. I mean, God, Jalen Brunson ran to Lil Boosie. Lil Boosie tried to hold him down because that was their best defense. Lil Boosie on the court, like, hold on, bro, I got to get up. He's trying to keep Jalen Brunson on the sidelines. That was their best defense all night long.
Yes, it was.
So, in spite of them doing that to Atlanta, Atlanta's not Philly. Atlanta's a good team, up and coming. They're young. You know, they got a nice future there with Jalen Johnson. CJ McCollum had a coming out party again in the playoffs, reminding people who he is. But that's not Philly. That ain't Tyrese Maxey. That ain't VJ Edgecombe. That ain't Joel Embiid. So I gotta tell you, somehow this came together, and I think Philly actually will get to the Eastern Conference Finals. And I'm gonna tell you, I don't give a damn who wins that Cleveland and Detroit series. The Sixers are going to win that.
Wow.
I can't believe that we're here.
From the brinks of them not making the playoffs, the Philadelphia 76ers, according to JG, are going to the NBA Finals. Lord have mercy. Woo!
We love sports. This is why we love sports.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. I love sports, especially when I'm right. Especially when
you got lucky as hell, man.
Right. You gotta love it when you're right. Who wants to be wrong? Nobody does this to be wrong. You want to be right. People what? Like, damn, he know what he's talking about. Or she, I should say, he or she, whoever's on the show, knows what they're talking about. So, I really want to disagree with you, and I'm not saying this because I just want to disagree with you. I actually think the Knicks are coming in on a better streak than the 76ers, so I disagree with you on that. And I actually think the Knicks, if you look at their numbers, they're better statistically this season than what they were last season under Tom Thibodeau. With all that being said, I'm still taking the 76ers. I think the Sixers win in 6. If it goes 7, 6. I'm saying 6. If it goes 7, I'm always favor the home team in Game 7. I know Boston lost Game 7. I get that. But, again, I don't think the Knicks are not going to play like Boston. They're going to take the shot. They're going to take smarter shots. Go ahead, bro.
Nope. I got to push back on the Knicks at home with the pressure on, and in Game 7 to go to the East Finals. Yeah. History tells me don't buy the. If Game 7 was in Philly, I'd feel better about the Knicks. That's how they are.
No, I give you that. The Knicks do play better on the road to me than they do at home. They lost a game in the first round at home. They also lost a game in Atlanta, so you can look at it however you want to look at it. But I will say they are, under this regime, under the Jalen Brunson Cat regime, they are better on the road. Think about last year in the Eastern Conference Finals. They were down 20, came back to beat Indiana. So, at Indiana. But I'm going to take Philly in 6. To me, this series comes down to Paul George, Kelly Oubre, Andre Drummond, VJ Edgecombe. Those 4 guys. If those 4 guys play like how they're supposed to play, I think Philadelphia has just a little bit more than what the Knicks have. I don't think we're going to get hot OG Anunoby. I think the Sixers have forced the Knicks into pick and rolls where they got to switch Jalen Brunson or Maxey or Paul George or VJ, and then they'll try to eat. And I think Joel Embiid, as long as he can stay healthy, that's the biggest thing. If he can stay healthy, I think he should win his matchup against Karl-Anthony Towns and or Mitchell Robinson. The problem that the Knicks have.
Yeah. Sorry, I was saying they have no answer for Joel Embiid. Yeah, I understand. I understand. Maybe I think they should consider. They won't do this, but I think they should consider a big lineup. Have Mitchell Robinson play the 5 and put Cat at the 4. But the problem with that already, you're talking about Paul George against Cat. That's going to favor Paul George.
And not even that. You get Mitchell Robinson in foul trouble early. I would want him to use his fouls throughout the game instead of strangleholding him to play. You start. So now you pick up 2 early fouls. I can't play you for the second. I can't play you to the third quarter.
But that could be Karl-Anthony Towns too. That's why I'm saying like the point is let's try to keep Cat on the floor a little bit longer than like 3-4 minutes in the first quarter because he's liable to have a stupid foul a game. Yeah. And it'll come with the worst possible time, like not smart fouls. Some fouls they happen, I get it. But there's the idiotic fouls that he has in every game that just that's what hinders him. So that's why I'm wondering, would it be smarter to have Mitchell Robinson take those fouls, at least one dumb foul away from Cat to keep him on the floor that much longer?
Yeah, I get the idea. I'm just wary. I want Mitchell Robinson to play throughout the game because I feel like his totality of him playing could affect is their best defense for Joel Embiid. Strangleholding him to just you start and you pick up 2 cheap ones. Then now I get about Cat, but I feel like in this particular series, Cat is a better player. Repeat this again. Cat is a better player. Mitchell Robinson is going to be their most important player because he's going to be doing the heavy minutes on Embiid. So I feel like you want to save him throughout the game and just stranglehold him for the start of the game. So with that being said, we both like the 76ers. I like him at 6. You like him at 7. I think this should be a great Eastern Conference semifinals. The battle of New York and Philadelphia should be a great Eastern Conference semifinals. Game 1, again, Monday night, 8 o'clock on NBC and Peacock. The next series that we're going to go over, you guys see on the screen, the Minnesota Timberwolves and the San Antonio Spurs. San Antonio defeated the Portland Trail Blazers in 5 games. Basically made quick work of the Portland Trail Blazers. Meanwhile, the Minnesota Timberwolves, the injury ravaged Minnesota Timberwolves. They defeated the Denver Nuggets in 6 games to advance to the second round to take on the San Antonio Spurs. Game 1, Monday night, 8:30. I'm sorry. Game 1, Monday night, 9:30. Is that 8:30? 9:30. I'm sorry, 9:30 on Peacock. Game 2, Wednesday, 9:30 on ESPN. Game 3, which is Game 1 and Game 2 is in San Antonio. Game 3 and Game 4, the venue switches to Minnesota. Game 3 is Friday night, 9:30 on Amazon Prime. And Game 4 will be Sunday night basketball on NBC. You have a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday, Tuesday, Friday, Sunday, if necessary, Game 5, 6, and 7. JG, I'll start us off on this prediction. The Minnesota Timberwolves, they do have injuries. Obviously, Dante DiVincenzo tore his Achilles out for the season. Ayo Dosunmu, he will miss Game 1. Anthony Edwards is expected to play in Game 1, so we should have Anthony Edwards for the series for the Minnesota Timberwolves. For me, I respect what Minnesota did in the first round. I think what they did against Denver was admirable, but Denver is not the San Antonio Spurs. So I think the San Antonio Spurs defeat the Minnesota Timberwolves 5 games. I like the Spurs to beat them in 5.
You know what? I think I'm going to go with Spurs in 5 as well. Rudy Gobert showed me something definitely in this first series. Like, because Jokic owned him for the past handful of years. There were times where Rudy Gobert was unplayable in these playoffs. He really stepped up, and some of that was Jokic just not being great. But Rudy Gobert, stepped up and did his job. He's a 4-time Defensive Player of the Year for a reason. He affected the game, and he also affected the game on the offensive end as well, being a presence. But like you said, Nikola Jokic, Victor Wembanyama, the alien, that's a different type of problem. Now, Rudy Gobert and Victor Wembanyama, of course, were teammates with Team France. Rudy Gobert was a mentor of Victor Wembanyama, so there's some love there, but Wembanyama is looking to kick his ass, and I don't think Rudy Gobert can do a damn thing with him, because you're talking about a 7'5", 7'6" guy doing what Kevin Durant does. I don't think that favors Rudy Gobert too well. So you wonder, in fact, it's funny, I just mentioned him being unplayable in past playoff series. You wonder if Wembanyama could render him unplayable in this one, because who are you going to put him on? Because Gobert's not going to be able to stay with him on the perimeter, and that's just going to be a bad matchup for him. Anthony Edwards, it's good to have him playing in this game. He gives them somewhat of a puncher's chance, but I just think with Castle, with Harper, with De'Aaron Fox, obviously with Wemby, Devin Vassell, I'm forgetting someone else. I apologize. Yeah, Champagne, my guy, another shooter. This is just a different animal right here that Minnesota's walking into, and they're walking in wounded. Admirable job in this series, closing it out in 6. Love Jaden McDaniels. I think he's such an underrated player in the league, but I just feel like San Antonio is going to be too much for them, and I think this ends up being in the gentleman's sweep, like we agree on.
Yeah, for me, I think Rudy Gobert will give Wemby some trouble. Familiarity, played against him, so he won't have that. And most people that play against Wemby, I think they have the awe factor. Like, damn, okay, you can do everything. He won't have that. He's practiced against him since he was a young kid, so he knows what he can do and what he can't do. The difference of me with the Spurs against the Nuggets is not necessarily against Wemby and Nikola Jokic. They're both 2 great, phenomenal players. To me, the Spurs supporting cast, they want to play defense. I don't look at Jamal Murray. Again, they didn't have Peyton Watson. The Nuggets didn't have Peyton Watson, and Aaron Gordon was in and out the lineup. So their 2 best defenders didn't play. The Spurs don't have that problem. Stephon Castle, he wants that chance of sticking Anthony Edwards. Devin Vassell can play defense. Obviously, Champagny is a solid defender. You got that big man behind you, that alien behind you that can cover everything. And De'Aaron Fox is a pick your pocket steal minute. So he will slide, as Kendrick Perkins say, he'll slide them puppies, he'll open up them hands, and he'll play some defense. So, and you got some defenders on the bench as well with Carter Bryant, Harrison Barnes. So you got some guys, the guy from Boston, Luke Connect. So you got some guys that can play defense as well. So I think the Spurs match up well against Minnesota. So we both like the Spurs in 5. Again, game 1, Monday night, 9:30 on Peacock. Next series we're going to go over the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Detroit Pistons. Both teams coming off an exciting Game 7 home wins. Detroit defeated the Orlando Magic. Cleveland defeated the Toronto Raptors. Game 1 of this series is Tuesday night on Peacock, 7 o'clock. Game 2 is Thursday night, 7 o'clock on Prime. Both Game 1 and Game 2 will be in Detroit. Game 3 and Game 4 venue switches to NBC. Game 3 is Saturday at 3 o'clock on NBC. Game 4 is 8 o'clock on NBC. JG, you're known as the truth teller for the Cleveland Cavaliers. So, is this the end of the road of the Cleveland? Is this the end of the road for the Cleveland Cavaliers, or do they advance to the Eastern Conference Finals?
Go to the end of the road. This is the end of the road for Cleveland.
And
they should be thankful for Jared Allen. They really should be thankful for Jared Allen. 22 points, 19 rebounds. Because I'm here to tell you, if Jared Allen does not do that, Cleveland loses to the Toronto Raptors. And I'm sitting here laughing my ass off, like I always do with Cleveland once a year. Guys, I'm telling you, if you ever have a bad day, trust me, the city of Cleveland will make you feel better. They'll give you a reason to laugh. Whether it's the Cleveland Browns, whether it's the Guardians, or the Cleveland Cavaliers, they're going to give you a reason to laugh now and make you smile. They're going to make you feel better. So, Cleveland, I love you for that, man. I can never have a bad year without you. Like, I have a reason to smile. I have a reason to laugh. This will be a competitive series. Detroit, still we're concerned about, a consistent second scorer for Detroit. Although Tobias Harris came up big, Jenkins came up big. Jalen Duren was, I think, a bit of a disappointment in this series. Need a lot more from him. But now you're going from Wendell Carter, who gave you some issues, to a bigger and with more length, Evan Mobley and Jared Allen. So Jalen Duren is the X factor for me in this series of how this is going to go. I think he will play better, but given the matchup. But I think Detroit, this will be another 7-game series in my opinion. As long as Cleveland plays up to their potential, which they always don't do. I mean, to be honest with you, this should not have gone 7 games with Toronto, but that's the kind of stuff that Cleveland does, and that's why we can't take them serious as a finals contender. At least I can't. So I think Detroit wins this in 7. Jared Allen, again, was the MVP of Game 7 for sure, because they don't win without him. James Harden was terrible. Donovan Mitchell came on later. Evan Mobley was a virtual no-show in my opinion, but they have to be better if we want to be taken seriously.
I don't think James Harden was terrible in Game 7. I didn't think he was as aggressive as he could have been, but I don't think he was terrible. And I don't think Evan Mobley was a no-show. I thought he affected the game in different areas other than the stats, other than what the stats show. So for me, I thought it shouldn't have went 7. We agree on that. I said that last week about the Cavaliers. They play with their food too much. So with that was a disappointment. But I just don't believe it. I don't believe in the Pistons' second and third option. And if they struggled against Orlando, I think Cleveland presents a bigger and far greater challenge to Detroit than what Orlando did. So for me, I'm gonna take the Cavaliers in 6. I think the biggest key of this series, Donovan Mitchell, he struggled in the first round. I expect him to play well in the second round. I expect to get what I'm going to get from James Harden. With the Cleveland Cavaliers, to me, their 2 most important players is Jared Allen and Evan Mobley. Evan Mobley is going to have Tobias Harris on him this series. He should, I don't put a number out there, but he should damn near average close to 20 points. He should average a double-double. A good double-double, not a 12 and 10 double-double. 18, 10, 18, 11, 19, whatever, 20, something like that in a double-double. I think Jared Allen and Evan Mobley can force Detroit to double, and that should get wide open jump shots for Max Strus, Sam Merrill, Donovan Mitchell, James Harden, Dennis Schroeder, Ellis. They got some shooters on that team. So I think the matchups of this series favors the Cleveland Cavaliers. If Evan Mobley and Jared Allen do what they're supposed to do, Jared Allen's not going to get you 22 and 19 every night. He did that in Game 7. He doesn't need to do that. But if he can get you a double-double to pair that with Evan Mobley, that takes pressure off James Harden. If James Harden, think about this. James Harden was brought in to maybe at times be the second or the third option. Think about it like this. What if James Harden could be the fourth option? Now, again, he's not consistently – Jared Allen's not consistently going to give you the points. But Jared Allen's game should be about effort. He should get 10 rebounds a night because he's big, strong, and taller than almost everybody and more physical than almost a lot of people. He's just as physical as Jalen Dorn. So, for me, I think this matchup, the matchups in the series favors the Cavaliers. The Cavaliers, they have to win Game 1 or Game 2. They can't go back down to Cleveland 0-2. They got to win one of those first two games in Detroit. If they can win one of those first two games in Detroit, I really love my pick. But Cleveland, as LeBron said, this is for you. This guy right here, he can't stand Cleveland nothing. Guardians, Indians, Browns, or the Cavaliers. I think this Cleveland team, I think they can get to the Eastern Conference Finals, man. I'm picking them to beat Detroit in 6.
Detroit struggled with physicality. Orlando was the more physical team. So can Cleveland be the more physical team?
We saw Cleveland be physical in Game 7. So I think that physicality can carry over. And they know they're gonna have to be physical against this team. Because Jalen Dorn, he'll eat on the offensive and defensive glass. You feel me?
Isaiah Stewart as well.
So they know that. I think those two big guys in Cleveland, Mobley and Allen, you got to bring your hard hat. If you don't bring your hard hat, you're gonna be in trouble.
I'm telling you right now, Detroit's going to test Mobley from in here.
No, they are.
So I want to see how he responds to that.
Well, he better respond well. Cleveland gonna do what I think they can. He needs to respond. Again, I think Detroit should win Game 1 just because how it's set up. Game 2, I think that could be the game that Cleveland steals, and then you could go home and maybe win Game 3, maybe win Game 4. Now you up 3-1. And if Cleveland get up 3-1 in this series, they're gonna find a way to close the series. I can't see them blowing the lead with the talent that they got. So I don't think Detroit. I thought Detroit played down to their opponent in the first round to Orlando. They can't do that against Cleveland because Cleveland can beat you, physical or not. They have the skill to beat you, along with if they ever match the physicality.
100%.
The last series that we're gonna preview, ladies and gentlemen, the Los Angeles Lakers. They had defeated the Houston Rockets in 6 games in the first round. They are taking on the number 1 seed in the Western Conference, the Oklahoma City Thunder. Oklahoma City swept the Phoenix Suns in the first round. Game 1 of this series, Game 1 and Game 2 of this series will be in Oklahoma City. Game 1 is Tuesday night, 8:30 on NBC and Peacock. Game 2, Thursday night, 9:30 on Amazon Prime. Game 3, Saturday night basketball, Saturday night prime time on ABC, 8:30. And Game 4 will be Monday night, 10:30 on Amazon Prime. Game 5, Wednesday night, 5:13. Time to be announced, channel to be announced. JG, I'll start us off first. Ross, you put that schedule up one more time. I want to go down to a day. So, ladies and gentlemen, you guys see I'm going down with my pen. I want you to stop on May the 11th at 10:30. That'll be the last time you watch the Lakers play a basketball game all season. The Oklahoma City Thunder, they will not face a challenge until they get to the Western Conference Finals. I got the Oklahoma City sweeping. I have the Oklahoma City Thunder sweeping the Los Angeles Lakers.
I disagree.
Okay.
I think I'm not saying the Lakers are going to win. I mean, I am a Lakers fan, but I'm also objective. Don't think this team is as good as Oklahoma City. Like, the only way Oklahoma City loses this is if they just don't want to win. But something does tell me that the Lakers will catch them off guard, maybe in Game 1. Sometimes when the team sweeps in the first round, they have a little bit extra time off. Schedule's a little thrown off and everything. You never know. They could come out flat. LeBron and the Lakers just came off a tougher series than it probably should have been given the circumstances with Houston. But they're more fresh from playing games versus like Oklahoma City, who made light work of Phoenix and, had more time off. Again, I'm not saying they're going to win, but I don't think it's going to be a sweep.
Okay.
I think LeBron James, with the way that Marcus Smart and Luke Kennard have been playing, the way that DeAndre Ayton has been playing, I feel like, and now you have Austin Reeves coming back, I can see them. It wouldn't shock me if they snuck a game out of Oklahoma City just for them not being ready to play off the rip. That's where I'm at with it. So I'm going to say Oklahoma City in 5.
OKC in 5. I like the sweep. I just think OKC's on a mission, and I think with them being off, players are creatures of habit. They watch TV. You know this. You play. They watch TV. They understand what's going on. They understand that the world, the TV world, is going to be talking about the Lakers. Now, once the game starts, then they'll be talking about the Thunder. But going into the series, they'll be talking about LeBron, Austin Reeves, the Lakers. Do they have a chance? Stuff like that. And I just think Oklahoma City is salivating. They like, hey, we're the defending champs. You forgot about us? Like, I know we demolished the Suns, but hey, we're still here. So I think they'll have a hey, we're still here type of moment. They destroyed the Lakers regular season margin. I don't think they'll beat the Lakers by 30 in the playoff game. I think they'll blow the Lakers out at least one of these playoff games. Because I think OKC is just supremely better. And they don't even have their second best player. We've got to get the updates on him, see if he'll be able to play game one. I think he'll come back at some point in time during the series. But I agree with you. I think the Lakers, their best chance is to steal game one if they're going to make it a competitive series, or at least more than a sweep or a gentleman's sweep. But I think OKC's on a mission, man. They want to show the world we still here. You guys can talk about the Lakers. You can talk about the Spurs. You can talk about the Knicks, the Sixers. We still the defending champs. You got beat us 4 out of 7 times. That's a tough thing to do. That's a tough thing to do in a 7 to 10 day stretch.
Yeah, you know, the Lakers are going to. I think the Lakers are. I just have a feeling, you know, I sometimes I hate when I'm right, but my gut, you know, has a really good record when it comes to stuff like this. I just feel like the Lakers are going to steal a game in Oklahoma City, and every LeBron fan's going to be walking around with the chest out like, "Let's go, James! Let's go!" Shannon Sharp going to put that dumbass goat mask on and nightcap with an Ocho Cinco talking about "Go James," and then we're going to have all this stuff like Michael ain't do that at 41.
Yeah. Let me address this. I want to address that because that's stupid talk. That's these fools on TV. Like they have to engage you guys. This show. We be real with sports. I'm not trying to engage. I'm trying to engage, obviously, but I'm not trying to insult your intelligence. Like these guys are really on TV trying to give you guys a mythical battle of 2 men that will never play against each other. That's just it's just astronomical to me. Like they really go on TV and try to break down this player versus this player. Michael Jordan and LeBron James will never play against each other. But there's one thing I heard that really pissed me off last week when the Rockets were coming back, because the Rockets were down 3-0. The Rockets won game 4, then they won game 5. So there was this notion out that, well, if LeBron loses a series, does this affect his GOAT stats? No. Listen, if you think LeBron James is the greatest of all time, that nothing's going to change your mind. That's your opinion. You have every right to your opinion. If you don't think he's the greatest of all time, that's fine. You have a right to your opinion. My thing is that his legacy is cemented. Now, at the same time, in arguments, if he were to lose a series being up 3-0, you're going to have that in the argument. So, of course, that will bring him down a notch. Anybody that did that. When Kevin Durant left the Warriors up 3-1, they brought him down. Still, people look at him probably kind of funny with that situation with him leaving the Thunder and going to the Warriors. So, for me, listen, whoever you think the greatest player is of all time, that's who you think it is. Like, him without – the Lakers didn't even have Luka. So that wasn't even a fair assessment of their full team. You get what I'm saying? So, no, I don't – this notion – the media, they really play with our intelligence. You feel me? I don't want to say y'all because I don't want to make it seem like I'm not part of people listening to these people. But they play with people's intelligence, and I just don't fall for the stuff. If you think LeBron's the best, then you have that right. If you don't, then you have that right. My thing is that the Lakers weren't even fully healthy. The Rockets weren't even fully healthy. So, you know, hey, he is what he is. If you think he's the GOAT, you have that right. If you don't, you have that right. So, but for me, in this series, yeah, OKC, they're going to remind folks we the best team, and we're going to show y'all we the best team. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you guys for watching episode 82 of the best sports show out, Highly Opinionated. For the best editor, the best producer, the best guy here on Highly Opinionated. Shout out to that guy, Ross, man. He's doing amazing work. We love you, brother. Ladies and gentlemen, the best co-host in the game, my guy. Make sure you follow, like, subscribe to Club JG Podcast. He's doing great things over there. Keep up the great work, brother.
Always appreciate you, man.
Yes, sir. I am Merely Josh. We will see you guys for episode 83. We are out.